The doctors barely acknowledged her. The commanders dismissed her input. To everyone at Landstuhl Military Hospital, Captain Elena Reeves was just another nurse taking vital signs and changing bandages. But when armed insurgents breached the perimeter at 2 a.m., they were about to discover that just a nurse had once led the most elite combat medical team in Afghanistan. Welcome to Hidden Heroes Chronicles. Before we begin this powerful story of courage, sacrifice, and forgotten heroism, tell me in the comments from which city and at what age you're watching this video today. And if you believe real warriors never forget their own, hit that subscribe button. These stories matter. Captain Elena Reeves had been working night shifts at Landstuhl Military Hospital for 3 years. She wore pink scrubs, smiled at patients, never raised her voice. She was young, beautiful, and very kind, which is why no one took her seriously. "Elena, sweetheart, could you get me a coffee?" Dr. Morrison would say every morning. "Nurse Reeves, could you recheck these vitals? Something seems off," the head nurse would say suspiciously. "We need experienced doctors to treat our soldiers," Colonel Hendricks had said at a meeting. Nurses are wonderful in supporting roles. Elena never responded. She would just nod and continue her work. No one looked at the tattoo on her arm, a phoenix with ashes to action written beneath it. She kept her combat medic badge in her locker, never wore it. That night started like any ordinary shift. 9 wounded soldiers in intensive care, 12 patients in surgical, 7 in recovery. Elena checked each one during her rounds. "How are you, Sergeant Parker?" she asked a wounded soldier. "I'm fine, nurse," Parker said. "But the leg pain continues." Elena checked the charts. The medication dosage was wrong. Again. 3rd time this week. "I'll tell Dr. Morrison," Elena said. Again. Parker smiled. "You're a really good nurse, Elena. I'm getting better care here than anywhere." Elena smiled but was internally troubled. Too many mistakes had been happening at the hospital lately. Security had also gotten lax. Entry controls were weak. At 2 a.m., everything changed. The first explosion shattered every window on the 2nd floor. Elena was at the nurse's station, instantly hit the ground. But soldier reflexes immediately kicked in. Code black! Code black! The alarm system was going off. Armed attack. Gunfire echoed down the corridor. Screams, panic, chaos. Elena stood up and looked around. 3 nurses were hiding in the corner in fear. "Elena, what do we do?" Jenny shouted. Elena's brain switched to military mode. "Protect the ICU patients. Make barricades. Don't let anyone in except me." "But the doctors." "Now!" Elena's voice was no longer soft. It had command authority. The nurses were shocked but obeyed. Elena ran into the corridor. Security guard Tom Wilson was lying on the ground covered in blood. "Tom!" Elena knelt beside him. Gunshot wound, shoulder. "Can you hear me?" Tom groaned. 5 of them, armed, went downstairs. Elena quickly stabilized the wound, applied pressure dressing. Then she looked at Tom's belt. There was 1 backup pistol. Elena took it. "What are you doing?" Tom asked. "Protecting my patients." When Elena returned to the intensive care unit, the attackers were already climbing to the 3rd floor. 9 patients, most intubated, unable to move. "Jenny, move the oxygen tanks behind the door." "Beth, use 4 stands as barriers." "Sarah, hide ambulatory patients in the bathroom." "Elena, you—" Jenny stopped. She saw the gun in Elena's hand. "I was a combat medic," Elena said calmly. "Afghanistan, 2016 to 2019. Now follow what I do." At that moment the door opened. One of the attackers tried to enter. Elena was ready. She fired a warning shot. "This unit is protected. Back off." The attacker laughed. "A nurse? Are you kidding?" Elena fired the 2nd shot next to the attacker's foot. "I'm not kidding." The attacker retreated. But Elena knew they'd come back. With more. The nurses were looking at Elena as if they'd never known her. "Who are you?" Beth asked. "Right now I'm your best chance," Elena said. "Jenny, tell me all the exit points in this hospital." "Beth, where's the emergency communication system?" Elena began thinking strategically. The attackers weren't very organized, but they were heavily armed. Police were at least 15 minutes away. A lot could happen in that time. Voices were heard on the radio. All personnel, downstairs, hostages. They're trying to take us hostage, Elena said. But they can't move ICU patients. We'll defend here. How? Sarah's voice was trembling. Elena went to her locker. She pulled out her combat medic patch. It read, 75th Ranger Regiment. I was in Helmand Province in 2016. The forward operating base was attacked. My team and I saved 47 wounded, some using weapons. The nurses were shocked. A combat medic doesn't just treat, Elena said. When necessary, they fight too. Elena made a quick defensive plan. She used hospital equipment as barricades. She positioned oxygen lines strategically. She could use them as explosives if necessary. Jenny, put all sedation medications in the emergency cart. Beth, charge the defib unit. Sarah, give constant updates to security via walkie-talkie. Why the defib? Beth asked. Because a 300-joule shock can incapacitate a person. At that moment the door opened again. This time there were 3 attackers. Last chance. Hand over the patients. No, Elena said firmly. The lead attacker fired. Elena hid behind the medical cart. The bullet hit the metal surface. I warned you, Elena said. Then she opened the oxygen tank valve and threw a lighter. A small explosion occurred, pushing the attackers back. Is she crazy? Someone shouted. No, Elena said. I'm trained. The attackers retreated, but Elena knew they'd attack again. This time more organized. Elena, Jenny said in a trembling voice. Can you really fight them? I don't want to fight, Elena said. But I will protect my patients. At any cost. Dr. Morrison's voice was heard on the radio. Nurse Reeves, what's your status? ICU secure. 9 patients stable. Repelled attackers. Silence. Then a shocked voice. You how? Combat medicine, doctor. Not just treatment, protection too. Colonel Hendricks entered the radio. Captain Reeves. Elena paused. Yes, sir. 75th Ranger Regiment. Yes, sir. My God, the colonel said. You're that Reeves? The one who saved 47 people in the FOB Chapman attack in Afghanistan. Yes, sir. A long silence on the radio. Then the colonel's commanding voice. Captain Reeves, take tactical command. I'm sending you backup. Elena was no longer just a nurse. At that moment she was a commander. All nurse stations, Captain Reeves speaking. Move to defensive positions. Stabilize patients. Direct ambulatory ones to evacuation points. Every floor began reporting to her. Elena coordinated, developed strategies, distributed resources. The attackers came to the ICU once more. This time Elena was ready. Beth held the defib pads ready, Jenny the sedation needles. Sarah kept the emergency exit open. Last warning, the lead attacker said. My last warning to you too, Elena said. This hospital is now under my command. Withdraw or I'll use force. The attacker tried to fire, but Elena was faster. She disarmed the weapon, injected sedation into his arm, and within seconds the man was unconscious on the ground. The other 2 attackers were shocked. Elena walked toward them. Your choice, she said calmly. Surrender, or deal with a combat medic from the 75th Ranger Regiment. Both dropped their weapons. 15 minutes later, when police arrived, most of the attackers had already been disarmed. No patients were harmed. 0 casualties. How did this happen? The SWAT commander asked Elena. Combat medicine, sir. We don't just treat wounds. When necessary, we fight too. When Dr. Morrison arrived at the hospital and saw Elena, he froze. Nurse Reeves, I didn't know. You didn't need to know, doctor. I was just doing my job. Colonel Hendricks came to Elena. He saluted. Captain Reeves, outstanding performance. Elena returned the salute. Sir, why did you never mention it? Because, Elena said, I wanted respect for my nursing, not for my past service record. The next day, local news covered the story extensively. Nurse shows heroism, but no one knew who she was. Elena Reeves wasn't just a nurse. She had served as a combat medic with the 75th Ranger Regiment, earning the Bronze Star, Silver Star, and Purple Heart. In 2018, when FOB Chapman was attacked, Elena and her team saved 47 wounded soldiers, some through medical treatment, some using weapons. That night she became a legend. But when she returned home, Elena ended her military career. "I just want to heal now," she had said. "Not fight." The atmosphere at the hospital changed. Doctors began consulting Elena. Commanders listened to her ideas. Nurses saw her as a mentor. "Elena," Dr. Morrison said one day, I apologize. I underestimated you. Not just you, doctor. Everyone did. But it doesn't matter. What you learn matters." The hospital promoted Elena to head of emergency response. She now managed all crisis situations. Jenny asked her, "Why didn't you ever tell us?" "Because," Elena said, "I wanted people to respect me for my nursing skills, not for my soldier past. Both are me, but I'm a healer first." A year later, Elena was giving combat medicine training at military hospitals. Not just medical skills, leadership, crisis management, and protection. "Nurses aren't just caregivers," she would say in her training. "We're protectors. When our patients are defenseless, we're their last line of defense." Beth, Jenny, and Sarah were now enrolled in the combat medicine program. They were learning, as Elena showed them, that healing and protecting can go together. "Thank you for believing in us," Sarah said. "I didn't believe in you," Elena said. "I saw the strength inside you. I just helped it come out." In Elena's office, her medals were now on display, but beside them were nursing certifications, thank you letters from patients, and team photos. "Which is more important?" a journalist asked. Elena thought, "Both are equally important. Combat medals taught me discipline, courage, and sacrifice. Nursing certification taught me compassion, patience, and healing. Together, you become a complete caregiver." "What's your advice to young women?" "Never limit yourself," Elena said. "Society will want to put the word just on you. Just a nurse. Just a woman. Just young. But you're not just anything. You're everything. And when necessary, don't be afraid to prove it." Elena Reeves is no longer just a nurse at the hospital. But for herself, she still is. Because being a nurse isn't a limitation for her, it's a superpower. What protected the hospital that night wasn't just a gun. It was compassion, courage, and commitment. Elena showed that real power is in balancing healing and protecting. The attackers didn't just face a defensive line. They faced a healer dedicated to protecting life. And that night they learned that the strongest warriors are those trained to save lives. Now I ask you, do you know a woman like Elena who is underestimated but incredible? Quietly strong, quietly brave, and absolutely unstoppable. Write their names in the comments. Tell us how they lived. Say the things they would never say, because they deserve to be remembered. And if this story touched you, subscribe to Hidden Heroes Chronicles. We're here to make sure women like Elena are never defined by the word just again. Their power shines quietly. Now it's time to show the world. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, take a second look at the just women around you, because there are probably much more.